Well, welcome back, folks. Today we're going to do a little shop talk reviewing a situation I had as I've been preparing to reassemble the headlight speedometer shell for the Yamaha YL1. And specifically, I'm talking about the mounting of this emblem. This is the original emblem that came off the headlight shell, and it fits in something like that. And the problem I encountered is the original base that this fits into. This emblem does not fit directly against the shell. It fits into a plastic base. I think Yamaha calls it a base. And here's what's left of the original base when I took it apart. It had just crumbled into pieces, as you can see there. I was able to find and purchase a new emblem. This is a NOS emblem right here. Again, my left hand is the original. This is the replacement. I've had that for quite some time. So I was able to source a new emblem, but what I have not been able to source is the base, this plastic plate that the emblem fits into before it snaps into these two slots here in the front of the headlight shell. And I have not been able to find this base anywhere. I've been watching on eBay. I've got a search set up on eBay. I've had it up for months, and I have not been able to locate this. This is apparently used only on a couple of model years, YL1 of course being one of them. And no luck so far. So that led me to thinking through, well, what am I going to do, at least temporarily, until I can see if I can locate a new one, NOS, for continuing on with the assembly of the headlight shell. So what I ended up doing is thinking through some various options to make my own, at least, again, temporarily. And what I came up with was taking a piece of an old inner tube, like this. I just cut this out of an old inner tube that I saved. I saved quite a few inner tubes because this rubber is quite handy for various things, such as this. And I started making some prototypes. And what I ended up doing is making a two-layer little assembly. You can see it's been glued together, I think, right there. I don't know if you can see that or not. There's a seam. These are two pieces. And the reason I did that is when I examined the original piece, you can see here, I think, it's got a relief cut in it, and the emblem fits down in. Well, from a practical perspective, certainly at least with rubber, I'm not going to be able to cut that relief, but what I could do is I could emulate it by using two layers of that inner tube or that rubber like you see there. And this one, actually my first prototype, I don't know where it is right now, right here, here's my first one. Actually, this is my second. I laid a piece of, I cut out the opening size for the outline of the emblem. Then I glued them together with contact cement like you can see there, rubber cement. Then what I did is I went around the outside with a straight edge and cut out the rest of it, so it ended up looking like that. The first prototype I did I just wasn't happy with, so I don't have it anymore. This was actually the second. But I wasn't quite satisfied with that. The contact cement, I don't know if it's going to hold up well. So I went ahead and made a third prototype. This one was just to illustrate a bit of the process. Third prototype I made, which is this one, I did the same process, cut out two layers, laminate them together, cut out the opening for the emblem to fit into. Ultimately, I had to cut out the back, and we'll get to that in a minute. But what I ended up using for this one is two-phase tape, and you can, I think, just see the remnants of the white tape there as a means of attaching the two layers together. I wasn't satisfied. For some reason, this just didn't work for me. So for this last prototype, which is probably the one I'm going to go with, I just cut out the 2 pieces of rubber from the inner tube, use the 2-phase tape in between to hold them together, the 2 pieces together, press them together, actually in my bench vise using 2 pieces of wood to make sure I got a good contact. Then I used a straight edge to cut out the outside to create this little lip you see here. I think you can see that around the outside. And then I just went back and cut out the opening for these ears to fit through. So it fits something like that. Now I admit this is not a perfect solution. It's better than nothing. Certainly I couldn't reuse the original that fell apart on me. And it'll at least suffice for now until I can see if I can eventually find a NOS piece. These are pretty easy to replace if I have to pop that out at a later time. In terms of alternatives, I also considered using plastic. I was at the hardware store the other day and I picked up this black faceplate. This is like 28 cents, and I was thinking of doing the same thing I did with the rubber, only using the plastic. I would have to then probably mill it out. I'd have to cut the pieces out, glue them together. This would be pretty easy to glue. I'd have to grind or machine off these ribs on the back side. I think you can see there. Make it flat. Cut out the outside where it's got this radius, make a couple of pieces, and then do the same thing with the, probably on my mill. The main reason I didn't go with this is this emblem has a bit of a curvature to it. I think you can see there. If it's shaped like that, I'm sure to fit over the radius of the face of the headlight shell. So if I was to use the plastic, I would probably have to soften it in some way and form it to approximately the same radius. Otherwise, it would lay flat. I'm going to exaggerate, but it would lay flat like this on this curved part here. Probably could be done, but I thought I'd start with this rubber pieces instead, because they're naturally flexible, obviously, and they'll conform quite readily to the shape of the headlight shell. So that's my at least temporary solution to coming up with a base or a seat. Clearly Yamaha hasn't sold this part, replacement part, for some time, and I don't know if this is a common problem. Probably is. Some of you out there might know better than me, having more experience with YL1s, but I think for now this will be a sufficient solution for me, so I can continue on with the project. If I'm fortunate enough to find a replacement part, this base, later on, then I'll just swap it out at that point. That's it for this video today, folks. Any questions, thoughts, drop me a note. Otherwise, as usual, thanks for watching.